I might put that back to Tony. And what I'll do here is I'll actually go on the side here on YouTube, maybe just to explain a little to viewers what's going on as regards with radio and so on. So I'll hand it over to Tony, EI7GUB. Can you take up Niall's question there? Over.
Yeah, okay, Adrian, Echo India 2, SDR, Echo India 7, Golf Uniform Bravo, the South Dublin Radar 2 minutes. Okay, fine, alright, yeah, you can join us then on Zoom as normal.
So, hello everybody. So, I just want to check here, make sure that my audio's coming out okay now that I'm off the radio. Yeah, that's okay. So what you're seeing on the screen at the moment is this is obviously me up on the top right hand corner. This is the radio, and in amateur radio world people call this a rig. I'm not sure why, because in Convoy, the truck movie, the trucks were called rigs as well, but anyway, maybe someone can tell me why they're called rigs. And this type of radio is it's a Yaesu, which is a Japanese company, and it's called an FTDX 3000. So this is what's called a general transceiver. It covers the radio spectrum from basically 0 for listening anyway, all the way up to 30 megahertz, and that covers basically the shortwave spectrum. It covers medium wave and long wave as well for listening. You don't generally transmit on in those areas, but it covers shortwave and also 6 meters, which is kind of a low VHF band. So on the screen then, if I can zoom out, is this software is called software defined radio, and what's happening here is that the radio is outputting the signal it's receiving into my computer, and then it's being visually represented here on screen by this software. This one's from a company called SDR Play. This is their proprietary software called SDR Uno, which is paired up with the receiver. And what you can see here, this is the radio spectrum, not all of it. I'm going to put up a little graphic here, and I might move this across. Hopefully you can see that slideshow. Oh yeah. So this is the radio spectrum here, and the radio spectrum is vast. It's an enormous piece of real estate. So you've got everything from very low frequencies, which you can see is sometimes used for navigation beacons. This is this VLF, to maritime radio, and then you have long wave or LF, low frequency. Medium frequencies are AM radio, as it's called. And then in the middle here you've got shortwave radio, which is where we are now. Then you've got VHF, which some of you might be familiar with from handheld radios, and that's where your television and commercial radio lives. And the more you go up, you can see you've the different types of communication, like Wi-Fi and satellite communications and so on. The general rule of thumb is that the higher in frequency you go, the broader the bandwidth, or the bigger slice of this spectrum that you have, it carries more information. But it doesn't propagate as far. Okay, so generally from VHF up is line of sight transmission, whereas here in shortwave, which is where we're transmitting now, we can actually bounce signals off the ionosphere, and that's how we can get worldwide communication, or communication with different countries, without the use of satellites. So that's the spectrum, right? So now the shortwave spectrum in itself is quite large, and it's broken down into different bands. And what do I mean by bands? It's like you have like a big line of spectrum, and it's broken down into different slices, from lower HF or shortwave all the way up to higher ends of shortwave. And actually those different band slices have different properties as well. So if on the screen at the moment, the slice of the shortwave spectrum that you're looking for is what's called the 40 meter band, or as you can see, with starting at the number 7000 there, the 7 megahertz range of the spectrum. So that is 40 meters. So you'll normally hear amateur radio operators talking about meter bands, and that's really to do with the length of the radio wave. It's 40 meters for each cycle. And the amateur radio bands then are broken down into sections as well. So 40 meters is a good, what's called general coverage band. You can get good local coverage at times, but you can also get good international and intercontinental contacts through 40 meters. And the way we generally break it down is at the lower portions of each band. So this is 40 meters, as I said, but you'd have bands below this, down to 80 meters or 120 and higher, but the configuration of how the bands are separated for different types of radio use are generally the same. So if you look down this end towards the lower portion of the band, I can zoom in, and we're going to come off frequency there a little bit. If I can come down here, you can see down here at the lower end of the band, these little spikes here, this is actually all Morse code. And if I'll turn up the sound there, you can see that. So Morse is generally confined to the lower portions of the band, and then as you go up the band, you can see here you've got different looking signals, and I say looking, but these are digital modes. This one is called FT8. And so what's the difference between that and voice communication? Well, generally they use lower power, and they can propagate a lot better through noisy conditions. So some people use Morse code only, and they get great international contacts with only very little power. And similarly with digital modes, they can be a preferred mode of communication when radio conditions are poor. And when you get a little bit higher up the band, then you get into what's called SSB, and we'll go back to 7123 here, which is our own radio net. You can see voice communications. So generally voice communications require more bandwidth. This is, anyone doesn't know, when people are talking about radio or Wi-Fi, bandwidth is basically the amount of spectrum that you're using, and therefore it needs more power, and it's more subject to interference and corruption. So so that's a Dutch station calling there.
Okay, I think there's a couple of stations there calling lads at the moment.
So I'll just kill that there for a minute. So yeah, so you can get so in this portion of the band it would be more like local HF, and further up the band it's more preferred maybe for longer distance communications. They're not how would I say, rigid rules. They're more how people operate by convention. So the amateur radio operators break up the band kind of through a gentle person's agreement as to, okay, we'll use Morse down this section, we'll use digital around this area, we'll use voice in this area, and we'll reserve some portions of voice more for long distance contacts and other portions for more local stuff. And it's to separate the traffic a little bit. But as you can see there, it's not quite busy at the moment, but you can see even though the spectrum is quite large, you can get a little bit congested, especially if there's contacts on, and you can often get a little bit of conflict with people talking over each other. So that's the spectrum as such, and that's what it looks like. The station itself, if we go back to the radio, you have the radio, and this goes out to a tuner. Won't go too much into that, but basically the depending on the type of antenna you have, you actually have to match the radio to the antenna depending on what frequency you're transmitting on. And that's to do with capacitance and inductance. And this is a manual tuner here. So there's a bit of kind of messing around with capacitance and inductance, and that's to make sure you're reflecting as much power out as you possibly can from your setup. There are power limits with radios, that's because it's a regulated entity. They don't want people taking over vast swathes of spectrum with really powerful transmitters. This is the regulators, so we generally operate within certain power limits. But that's different in different countries. But this rig is, or my radio, I'm not using any amplifier other than what the radio does itself, and I'm currently using about 90 watts, I think, or did I up it there earlier? 95 watts. So that's, to me, that's sufficient. I don't use any more than that anyway. And I've made contacts, on voice well into South America, the States, the west coast of the States, Central Asia would be normal enough. I've had no voice contacts into the Pacific region or at all. I've had voice contacts down to South Africa and that kind of stuff. However, on digital modes, which I said is easier for slicing through noisy band conditions or operating at different times of the day, I've got contacts on low power as far away as Australia and Indonesia and that kind of stuff. So, and that's what we do. It's kind of a game, really, amateur radio, because the ionosphere changes all the time on shortwave, and you're basically battling against conditions or taking advantage of conditions depending on what, and seeing depending on what the sun is doing, because the sun ionizes the atmosphere, and sunspots generally help for that. So we're generally taking multiple factors into account to try and communicate as best we can, and that's kind of the sport of it. And people are into different things. People are into competitions like contesting. I just like generally transmitting to see how far I can get my signal out around the world. That's what I'm interested in. Is what people call DXing, or DX is short for distance. Getting your signal out as far as possible and getting some unusual entities, as they say, geographic entities, people on Pacific islands or ships or aircraft. There's actually some pilots out there that have, when they're cruising at high altitude and they're probably not doing so much, they switch on their HF transceiver within their aircraft, and that can cause great excitement in amateur radio because it's quite unusual to get a contact with an aircraft. As you can imagine, a moving target in radio terms can be difficult, and especially if conditions are variable as well. But anyway, that's a general kind of talk on spectrum and radios and that kind of stuff. So I'll go to the questions. Jeffrey, I think, asked something there. So are you using a radio and an SDR today? Yes. So I the software defined radio, there's what's called an IF out, or an intermediate frequency being piped out of the radio into the SDR, and that's how I'm capturing signal to display on the waterfall. And obviously in engineering terms, that's an issue that had to be gotten over initially, because if you had a receiving SDR and you transmitted at the same time, and there was the SDR wasn't shunted to ground, then you'd burn out the SDR because of the RF. So what happens is when you transmit on the transceiver, it shunts the SDR to ground, so it doesn't get overloaded. And that's how that works. Now, that's with more modern radios. This is a more modern radio. I have an older radio. I don't know where it is at the moment. And it's an older Yaesu FT840 from the 90s. It works perfectly fine. But obviously it wouldn't have the capacity to pump out an IF. You could do it, but it's very fiddly. So what you can buy commercially is what's called a ground switch, where when you're using an older radio and you hit when you key, when you transmit, it'll it shares it with the SDR. It shares the antenna with the SDR, but it'll shunt the SDR to ground. So you can actually buy older, cheaper radios and use them with an SDR with a ground switch. So short answer, yes, they're sharing the antenna, but the SDR is protected during transmit. But that's one of the things you have to be mindful of if you're setting up an SDR with another radio. There's many an amateur who've damaged an SDR when transmitting. I've done it myself, and I had to send it back for repair. So lots of considerations sometimes. Any other questions there? No. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll get back in on the
some parts of the UK because a lot of interference on Hack Green at the minute. Okay, so there you go, that's it. Okay, so over to you, Noel. Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo. Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo. Not too sure if Adrian is back or not, but give it back to you. You're going to give a general call there, Roger?
EI2 SDR is back.
Okay, I'll jump in there. I think Adrian is back. Hope you're doing well, Adrian. I've been keeping an eye on you on the live stream, and your slides were quite good. I think they seem to explain the bits and pieces quite well. So welcome back. Over to you, EI2 SDR from EI6 HIB.
Yeah, EI6 HIB from EI2 SDR. Thanks, Niall. Yeah, it's kind of difficult when you've a few things going on. You've the SDR, you've got the live stream and the chat, and trying to pull up PowerPoint at the same time. But look, if anyone there is watching and they have some general questions about amateur radio, fire away, because I have a few slides actually for demonstration from when we did Dublin Maker back in 2019. So I'll try and keep it as uncomplicated as I can in my usual halting and stuttering way. But I'll try and get Sean in. He was a bit low with me, but just to get him in the log anyway. Echo India 8 Hotel Charlie Bravo from Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo. Do you copy, Sean? Over. Echo India 8 Hotel Charlie Bravo from Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo. Do you copy, Sean? Over. Yeah, EI8 HCB from EI2 SDR. Just to get you in there, Sean, because we hadn't had a direct QSO. You're a bit low with me. I think I'm usually low with you anyway. You're about a 4 and 4, but copied you coming back there. So good to get you in the log for this morning. Back to you, Sean. Over. EI8 HCB from EI2 SDR. Thanks, Sean. I think actually that will demonstrate to people watching how weak signals can be, and you actually have to develop the ear to to decode what people are saying. So I'll just give a general call out. CQ 40 meters from EI2 SDR, CQ 40 meters from Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo in the South Dublin Radio Club Net. Calling CQ and stand by for any calls. Nothing heard. I'll go to Tom, EI7HT from EI2 SDR.
Okay, Adrian, fine on that there. Okay, we're doing well. I'm just counting the contacts we had this time last Sunday. And we're 45 minutes ahead there with the same contacts there. So that's looking good. There is an improvement in the frequencies here this morning. So absolutely great. There, okay. I'll just give a general call out there. QRZ, any other stations by? Anyone want to call in to the SDR net? This is Echo India 7 Hotel Tango with company. Okay, right, that's a definite no for the minute. There, so it is. There, so I'll put it back to you, Tony. EI7GUB from EI7HC there. Everything looking well there this morning so far, Tony. Back to you.
Yeah, Echo India 7 Hotel Tango, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Clubnet. Yeah, fine indeed. It's great to have a few UK stations in the log, which is perfect. You couldn't write it if you needed it, but anyway, great to have the mixture there this morning. Okay, I'll give a general call out and then we'll see what happens. CQ 14 metres, CQ 14 metres, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Clubnet. CQ 14 metres, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Clubnet. Any stations by QRZ? Okay, I think things are changing a little bit, Tom, at the moment. Hack Green is very noisy. I know they are having some thunderstorms coming up from the south, so perhaps that's the reason there. But not hearing very much on Netherlands at the moment, but my listeners at the minute, coming up, it's changing now on Hack Green. So I'm hearing my own voice here coming through. So there you go. Okay, back around to you, Sean. So Echo India 8 Hotel Charlie Bravo, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Club Network. Okay, not hearing the Sean there, so maybe just taking a break. Over to you, Noel. Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Club Network.
So what's going on there at the moment is, to my ear anyway, it sounds like HF the band conditions have changed. So you can get these rapidly changing propagation conditions where, you know, one moment you're hearing a certain geographic area like the UK or further afield in Europe on this band anyway, and then all of a sudden it's just switched off. You know, there's some sort of propagation change happened in the ionosphere and it's gone, or noise has come up, or whatever disturbance has happened. And that's the vagaries of shortwave or HF radio. And you might think it's frustrating, but it's not. It actually makes it really interesting, because what can happen is, okay, you might lose a certain geographic area, but then all of a sudden a geographic area that you don't normally get at all just pops up out of nowhere, and you can be getting signals from like the middle of Africa or something like that. It just changes, and that's what the guys are talking about at the moment, that it's gone quiet. Now, one of the very interesting propagation things that we work with is what's called the grey line, which is the line on the Earth between night and day. And one of the ionospheric vagaries of the grey line is that it tends to channel shortwave transmissions along the line. So it's called working the grey line. So when it comes towards sunset, you'll often see a lot of us amateurs jumping on. Because what can happen is, as you transmit, your signal can be ducted along the grey line around the planet along the grey line. So if you see one of those kind of graphics of the grey line, I'll try and get one up for you actually. Oh yeah, hopefully you can see this. This is actually my logging software. This is the grey line here. So you can see the grey line at the moment. So potentially amateur radio stations along this grey line can communicate along the grey line. Now normally on bands like 20 metres, 30 metres is actually quite good. So as the grey line moves, when it comes to me, for example, I could be potentially communicating down over Japan and down into the South Pacific, which is not normally open to me during the day, and I don't have a directional antenna. So what do I mean by that? Certain amateur stations have a lot of property or real estate, and they can build these huge Yagi type antennas that they can point in any direction, and they're high gain, and they can pretty much communicate around the world at will, sometimes against conditions. But for someone like me who has a who's an omnidirectional antenna, low powered enough, people like us tend to utilize conditions like the grey line to get those far-flung international contacts, and that it's quite fun. You know, it's really interesting. You know, if I was up in the northwest of Canada, to be talking to somebody in Perth. You know, it's obviously your morning and their evening. You know, so there's the time differences as well. But that's grey line, and one of the propagation quirks that you can utilize to communicate with radio. And of course, you know, there's you know, maybe if all the space junk cascades into all these communication satellites, we'll have to get back to using radio long term. But anyway, that's probably wishful thinking. So we'll go back on the net now and see where we are.
So enjoying the setup this morning there between watching the SDR page live there, and also then on YouTube. They're watching that live as well there, so it's good. You have to turn off some of the microphones, some of the speakers, and you couldn't listen to them all there, but still it's great. It looks really good on the computer. I'd like a big screen here now, 32 inch, you know, up in the 30s. There would be nice, absolutely. There. So who should I give it back to there? Right, Adrian, do you want to take it up there? Or, well, no, I heard Niall calling there on Zoom. Niall in Colchester, I wonder if you have a contact on me. G4RKB from Echo India 7 Hotel Tango. Go ahead, Niall, if you can hear me.
Echo India 7 Hotel Tango, Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo. Good morning to you there, Tom. Nice to hear you on the radio.
So you can hear there, Niall was very weak into me. When was I talking to him? It was around about 9:30. And the signals come right up there. So this is our signal strength meter up here on the top left of the SDR. So you can see there he has the signal strength there of 5. I might actually try and find something for you here. It shows it. Signal strength.
G4RKB in Colchester from EI7HT here in Dublin. Okay, Niall, your signal's getting stronger now, which is grand. They're absolutely terrific.
I know some of you were talking about the jargon and the signal reports. So if you give me a second, I'll see if I can.
3/4 of an hour left before the news bulletin.
I normally have it here for
if it increased
my daughter
the audio,
when she's on the radio.
Would be.
Okay.
So
I think I know where I can find it.
There, and I heard you had a good contact there with Mark there in Wicklow, North Wicklow.
So you guys just listen to it away there, and I'll try and find this.
We do have good contacts with him every night there on 2 meters there. He gets a signal right across the mountains there, so absolutely terrific. So good that you worked on there today. So I think that's probably your first time now to hear him on this band, which is 40 meters there. So fair play to you, Niall. Right, we'll see who should have put back there. Just see, Adrian, are you back with us there? With the call sign EI2SDR?
Yeah, EI7HT from EI2SDR. Yeah, Tom, I'm here. I'm just answering some questions on the side here on the YouTube chat. Um, but all good. I was just explaining to the people watching how Niall's signal had come up there in the last few minutes compared to where he was around about 9:30. Over.
Yeah, true enough there. Yeah, it was good. There's no doubt. Very good indeed. Okay, well, if you're busy there, that's fine. Unless you want to give Niall a call there now while he's good. But no, Niall, he's going to try and stay strong right up to 11 o'clock there. Back to you there, Adrian.
EI7HT from EI2SDR. Yeah, will do. Just to show the viewers on YouTube the difference. Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo from Echo India 2 SDR. Do you copy, Niall? Over.
Echo India 2 SDR, Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo. Good morning again there, Adrian. The noise seems to have dropped off a little bit, so both Tom and yourself came up there, good Q5 signal into Colchester here. So hope everything's going well with your Dublin makers this morning. So hope they have plenty of customers and get a few more people involved in the hobby there. So Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo, Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo, bye.
G4RKB from EI2SDR. Yeah, great to get you in there, Niall. You were at best a 4 and 4 with me earlier on. You're definitely 5 and 5, 5, 6. Probably peaking a little bit higher than that. I just wasn't quite watching the meter that time. But yeah, that's good. I've got that down in the log again. The improvement anyway. I'll put it back to Tom there for a minute. EI7HT from EI2SDR.
Yeah, okay, Adrian, fine on that there. Okay, that's good. Niall's signal coming back up again there. Brilliant. So, okay, put it over to Tony.
So,
Tony, do you want to give,
the signal reports that you're hearing, so hopefully you can see that.
right up to 11 o'clock there. Go on, Tony.
So, the readability, okay, so when you hear someone say 5, it's perfectly readable, okay, and then the next number is, you'll hear 5 and 9, so perfectly readable and a very, very strong signal, okay. Now, sometimes in amateur radio, people just say 5 and 9 just to say they've got the contact, so you might not get a genuine report off people, but most of us try and give a genuine report. So when I was talking to Niall earlier, I said he was a 4 and 4, so he was almost perfectly readable, and it was a fair signal. I think I need to get a drink of water. And yeah, Sean with me earlier, I think Jeffrey was commenting on how bad it was. So that's I gave him a 3 and 3, so it was readable with difficulty, and he was weak. Okay, so that's how. It's just to give each other an idea of how we're hearing each other, and it also goes into our logs. I'm writing down our signal reports there as we go along. So the other element of this is I don't have the Morse qualification, so I don't use it, but when you're using Morse code, there's a third element to your signal report, and that's where the tone comes in. So you could be like 5, 5, 9, 9, you know, perfectly readable, very strong, and a perfect tone on Morse. So that's the RST codes anyway, and that reporting system goes way back before voice communications. And Jeffrey, I think, was mentioning in the chat about the Q codes. The Q codes all go back to Morse as well. I don't know if you ever watched the movie Titanic. They didn't send an SOS, they sent what was called a CQD, and that was the general distress in Morse code back then. And a lot of those Q codes have gone on. And in actual fact, in amateur radio speech, you'll hear people referencing the Q code. So you'll hear QSB, which is deep fading in a signal. You'll hear that's when people say QSB. When they say QSO, they mean a conversation. QSL, you might have heard a few people saying there earlier on, that's confirmation of receipt of the information. So my call sign is, and or someone says to you, is your call sign X or Y, and you say QSL. That's the acknowledgements that they got the information correct. QRZ you'll often hear is who's calling me. So if you hear a weak station but you didn't get the signal, you'll say QRZ. But some people tend to throw QRZ in all over the place, which is not a correct use of it. But you do get used to them. I mean, generally there's a handful that you use all the time. Some of the older guys, obviously, who were probably radio operators in the Navy or the Air Force or the Merchant Marine, or have been using amateur radio for a very long time, they lace their communications with Q codes, and you'd have people like me scrambling trying to find out what do they mean. So that's the Q codes. We'll go back to the net now.
Bravo and Company calling CQNet and standing by for any calls. CQ South Dublin Radio Clubnet Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo and Company calling CQNet and by for any calls. Okay, back to you, Tony. Pretty quiet still here from EI6HIB.
EI2SDR to EI6HIB.
EI2SDR, how are things, Adrian, from EI6HIB?
Okay, Noel, Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, India, the South Dublin Club, Dublin Radio Group. A little bit of Dublin going on, just hang on.
EI2SDR to EI6HIB.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all good, Niall. I was just looking for some feedback on the stream. It seems to be working fine my end, but I know I dropped out earlier on and I didn't see that then for a few minutes. How's things over?
I'll take a look now, Adrian, 1 second.
So I'll give a general call out while Niall is looking at that. So CQ 40 meters, CQ from Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo, CQ 40 meters from Echo India 2 SDR in the South Dublin Radio Clubnet. Any stations by?
It's also working with me here, Adrian. Back to you.
EI6HIB from EI2SDR. That's fine, Niall. It's just double checking. I'm here in blissful isolation and everything seems to be working okay. But I just need that validation and feedback that things are working, because of a few things running here. Was there a Dutch station that called in there earlier? Over.
I'm not sure, but yeah, the stream is going very well, nice and clear. Back to you, Adrian.
EI6HIB from EI2SDR. Okay, Niall, thanks. I think you were doubling there with Tony for a second. I'll go to Tony. EI7GUB from EI2SDR.
Yeah, I think that station just faded out. He did call in, was he?
EI7GUB from EI2SDR. Yeah, no, when I was chatting away here, I just heard the Papa Delta, and I was just wondering if you got the contact in, but when I came back on, he clearly wasn't there. Back to you, over.
Yeah, Echo India 2 SDR, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, with the South Dublin Radio Clubnet. Yeah, fine, he was there, yeah, but he dropped out. Okay, just point Noel again there, if you don't mind. Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo. Do you have a copy there, Noel, Roger?
Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo. The OK there, Tony, you're a good 5 and 7 there. And Adrian was as well when he came back up. So obviously conditions are up and down. But I haven't heard anything from Joe down Dunleary yet at the minute. I know you gave him a call. I don't know whether he heard you or not. So I know he's probably standing by, maybe waiting on a call. So Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo. Bye.
Back to you, Tony.
I'm getting showered here with Father Day's gift. If you can take it up there, Niall, Roger.
Yeah, no worries. I won't suffer from that issue anyway today, thankfully. Happy Father's Day, I suppose, to everyone on frequency who that does apply to. It's an important day and whatnot. Yeah, Adrian, I've been looking at the stream there for a good bit, and definitely everything still working. And I like the way you actually have the SDR set up on the screen. It's nice to be able to see not just the spectrum, but the frequency and the audio, and yourself as well. Good job. It really is very professional looking. I think you said you're using OBS, which I think seems to be the go-to for streamers and whatnot. Over to you on that, Adrian. EI2 SDR from EI6 HIB.
Yeah, EI6 HIB from EI2 SDR. Yeah, it is OBS, Niall. It's my first time using it to stream anyway. I've done a few screen captures with it, but it's like any piece of software. It's as deep and as complicated as you want it to be. I've got one camera. I probably could have gone with two, but I actually couldn't find a second camera that gave good enough quality. But it seems to be working out okay. It's probably better to have it uncomplicated. So yeah, it's good as long as people get a good idea of looking at the spectrum. I was actually just going to make a comment on that off air. Looking at the spectrum at the moment, normally, as you would know, Niall, above us, especially at the weekends, there would be a lot of Italian and Spanish stations. There's a lot of contests and a lot of activities in those countries most weekends, and I'm not really seeing that stack of continental signals. So it looks like that propagation might be a little bit against us this morning, Niall. Over.
EI2 SDR from EI6 HIB. Yeah, it certainly does, Adrian. Normally we'd, as we said, we'd have kind of Italian, Spanish, maybe even German stations who would be as strong as the locals, just with propagation and whatnot. But it is strange that we don't have them this morning. I think it's been like that maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it could be something to do with propagation shifting, because the higher bands, 6 and 10 meters and 12 meters, have been open quite a good bit. So I think there might be some. I think it's absorption might be kind of affecting us a little bit, where the signals just don't propagate. Back to you on that, Adrian. EI2 SDR from EI6 HIB.
Yeah, EI6 HIB from EI9 or EI2 SDR. I have to remember I'm using the club call sign. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I can see a few signals now beginning to pop up. When you're in QSO with each other, I might just click around for those watching just to see where those signals potentially are coming from, and maybe just give an idea of the coverage we're getting on 40 meters at the moment. But like as we were saying earlier on, it's just dependent on conditions, and that's part of the fun of the whole thing. Back to you, Niall. Over.
Okay, all copied. Yeah, it is definitely part of the fun of it. It's also part of the frustration of it, but we won't advertise that too much. I'll pass it over to Tom, because I'm sure Tony is still busy there. Over to you, Tom. EI7HT from EI6HIB.
I'm back.
Break.
Yeah, okay. I think I heard.
So what I'll do is I'll have a look at these other signals. So as you can see here, I can zoom in and out on the SDR and have a look.
EI7HC from EIHJR. Good morning to everyone on the frequency.
That's Jim calling in there. So actually, just you can see these lines here. See these irregular sort of lines. That's interference. So that could be anything. I'm plagued with that stuff. But it's not too bad once you're off it. The noise. This general line across. That's what's called your noise floor. So to hear signals, your signal has to be above the noise floor. So you can see this noise here is peaking over the noise floor, but not too badly. You could hear a signal there. So we'll click on a signal here and see what we can hear.
In the past. I'll say 7-3. Thank you for the contact. Best wishes to you and your family. Have a good day.
So that's UK.
Improvements on the band. From U40 except going clear, say 7-3, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah, 7-3, Colin.
Very okay.
Und in der Höhe bis zu 5 so viel Kurs Baltimore auf diesem Moment sein. Nochmals vielen Dank für die Anruf und ein schönes Kurs auch. Ich wünsche dir eine gute Virus Corona Delta Mike 5 Kilo Sierra, Papa Bravo 5 X-ray.
Yeah, so I knew that was a Dutch person speaking German. So that's really bad conditions at the moment. So that's a Dutch station contacting a German station.
QRZ, Papa Bravo 5 X-ray, listen. Mike 0, Charlie Tango Papa. Charlie Tango Papa, you're 5 and 5. 5 and 7, Gary, and a very good morning to you, over. Yeah, Roger, Bob, very good morning, 5-9+.
So we'll try and get. What I was going to say is that Dutch station was talking to a German station and we couldn't hear the German station at all. So that's how bad conditions are, because normally German stations come in quite well on 40 metres. And in radio terms, they're very close. So. EI2 SDR.
Mexico, Japan, Mexico, Japan. Again, Mexico, Japan, Mexico, Japan. I need your call sign again. Give me your call sign. Incredible. A lot of QS Baltimore. Very, very fast and high QS Baltimore. The intensity is really incredible.
QS Baltimore, so that's QSB. That's the fading. Let's turn that down a little bit.
The Mike Japan, try again, please. No copy, unfortunately. I apologize, but it's a lot of QS Baltimore. This is Papa Bravo 5 X-ray. Listen to
Echo India 2, Sierra Delta Romeo.
Again, anybody else here in 40 meters? I hear very low station, only with 20, 21 is very incredible low. We're going to try it one more time. If not, we're going to go QS Mike. Anybody else? Papa Bravo 5 X-ray.
Echo India 2, Sierra Delta Romeo.
X-ray. Delta Hotel 6, November Alpha X-ray. Roberto, you copy?
Echo India 2, Sierra Delta Romeo.
5 and 9. Oh, great. You're also 5 and 9, Bob. It's great. Where is, you are in Netherlands?
So he's not hearing me at all. By the looks of it.
Yeah. No, maybe on an island from Newfoundland, I don't know, Caribbean, like so. Okay, it's 5-9, a strong signal.
Yeah, okay, right. Thank you very much for the strong signal. You're also solid 5-9 low data. My name is Roberto, indeed, and you can find me on QRZ or the homepage papabravo5x-ray.com if you want to know more about me on my station. Delta Hotel 6 November Alpha X-ray, Papa Bravo 5 X-ray. Well, yeah, thank you very much for the lovely shout and nice pictures on your QRZ page. 73, buddy, take care.
Okay, take care also, and 73, bye-bye.
Thank you, bye-bye. Anybody else here on the 40 meters, CQ Europe, Papa Bravo 5 X-ray.
Echo India 2, Sierra Delta Romeo.
Bravo 4 radio 5.
Golf Bravo 4 radio 9.
Yeah, that's a Roger. Can you go again with your call sign?
I don't think we'll spend too much time on that. We're obviously, there's other stations are just coming over me. They're just stronger than me into him, so it's a Dutch station, so won't lose any sleep over that.
And then you can move it on around. EI6HIB from EIHAR.
Okay, yeah, perfect, Jim. All copied. It's a very professional setup. I must say it's fair play to Adrian. He's put a lot of work into it, and I think it really shows the hobby in a good light. I'll give a quick call out and see if anyone else wants to join us. Hello, CQ South Dublin Radio Club. This is Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo and Company calling CQ Net and bye for any calls.
I don't want to abandon our own radio net and just to go hunting for stations. EI2 SDR back.
EI2 SDR, how are things, Adrian? I saw you did the little tour of the spectrum. Wondering if you picked up anything nice or what propagation is like in general. Over to you, Adrian. EI2 SDR from Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo.
EI6HIB from EI2 SDR. Yeah, Niall, I just went down 40 metres a bit just to show the viewers maybe potentially what stations we were getting into Ireland at the moment. And it's not great on 40 at the moment. We listened to a QSO with a Dutch station who was having a QSO with a German station, and we couldn't hear the German station. And then we tried to call a Dutch station, and I couldn't get over the UK signals at all. He wasn't really hearing me. So UK, it all looks quite local at the moment. UK seems okay. I don't know if it's regional, what regions we're getting in. Holland, some of the stronger German stations seem to be okay, but other than that, it's pretty limited fishing, Niall. Over.
Right. Okay, acknowledge the break station. Yeah, you're correct, Adrian. Propagation doesn't seem it seems quite short anyway. I'll bring in the break station. Go ahead, the break station.
EI2 SDR and EI6 Hotel India Bravo from Echo India 5 Kilo Oscar. Good morning, gentlemen. Just give a quick call in here, about to head out on the bike here shortly. So I said I'd give a quick call in and see how you're getting on there from Echo India 5 Kilo Oscar. And I say Adrian's about 5 and 7, and Niall you're 5-9 plus about 60 here. So back over to you, Niall. EI6HIB from EI5KO.
EI5KO from EI6HIB. Yeah, keep your full scale. The radio doesn't really know what to do with the signal here. I'll let you go back to Adrian. But quickly, are you using the amplifier key? Over to you.
EI6HIB, EI5KO, yeah, pushing about 150 watts here. I was going to give I heard Adrian on calling the Papa Bravo station, or PB5X there in the Netherlands. I was going to give him a quick shout, but just as Adrian was calling him as well, he faded out completely here to me, so I didn't get a chance to call him in there. So anyway, I passed it back over to EI2 Sierra Delta Radio from Echo India 5 Kilowatt. Good morning, Adrian.
EI5KO from EI2 SDR. Great, Keith. Good to hear you this morning. You're a 5556 with me at the moment, but it sounds an awful lot better than that. So I was trying that Dutch station, but I didn't want to come away from our own net for too long. I was just trying to show the viewers on YouTube, trying to get in stations. But the conditions aren't great. It's all short skip at the moment by the looks of it. Back to you, EI5KO from EI2SDR.
EI2SDR from EI5KO, yeah, indeed not alright. And conditions are not much better on the some of the other bands as well. Everybody giving out about the 6 metre conditions this morning as well. There's nothing at all, like somebody turned the switch off. So hopefully conditions a little bit better later on, and hopefully a bit better for the news at 11 o'clock this morning as well. As I say, just about to head out the door here, first time out in the open air in the last couple of weeks, so I've been listening in on the side here this morning, so I'd give a quick shout in before I head out. So I say hello to everybody there else on frequency, and I say I'll catch you later on. Echo India 5 clearing with Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Radio.
7-3 Keith. I might give a general call out again. CQ 40 meters from EI2 SDR, CQ 40 meters from Echo India 2 Sierra Delta Romeo, calling CQ and standing by for any calls. Nothing heard. I think Jim might have been in there earlier on, EI8JR, just to get a QSO there. Echo India 8 Juliet Romeo from EI2 SDR. You bite.
EI2 SDR from EI8JR. Good morning to you, Adrian. You sounded very good and looking great on the YouTube as well. I have it up. Your report is 5 and 7. Over.
EI8JR from EI2 SDR. Yeah, Jim, you're right bang on the 5-9 with me at the moment. Lovely audio, over.
Roger on that, Adrian. Good to know there. There's a bit of a time lag between the two of you, between the radio and the YouTube, but it looks great. Adds a whole new dimension to South Dublin Radio Club, over.
EI8JR from EI2 SDR. Yeah, well, Jim, this is part of the Dublin Maker Festival, so that's been on the past 2 days. It's the STEM Promotion Festival, which would normally be in Merrion Square, and we did a little bit yesterday where we did it virtually, and we had some videos and some interaction with people. But we said we'd demo a live station, and I think the best way to do that was on the Sunday morning net, where we get decent activity most of the time. So thanks for the comment, EI8JR from EI2 SDR.
EI2 SDR from EI8JR, all copied there, Adrian. I sort of a media blackout on this side for the last few days. Have been busy with other stuff here at home, So I didn't know that was going on. That's the pity. I would have liked to have been there. Maybe next time. But I do look forward to getting back to the club at some point in the future, and we can all meet up and discuss different ideas. And I've got lots of the ideas. But as you know, it's great ideas and the best laid plans, but it's the time to do them. That's the hard part. Okay, Adrian, good talking to you this morning. I'll put it back in there and let's put it back around. EI2 SDR from EI8JR.
EI8JR from EI2 SDR. Thanks a lot, Jim. I'll pass it on. I'll see if Tom's by. EI7HT.
Okay, Adrian. Yes, we're by, patiently waiting for the news. It's a pity that the conditions have dropped down. They're long distance, but still we have local contact, which is great. So just looking at your page there on the tube there, and it does look good. SDR is magic. All the details you can glean from it. So it is. So everything going well there, without a doubt. And if we only had good conditions there, wouldn't it be magic? It'd be great to have other stations over Europe or anywhere else in the world calling in there. It would make our day. Back to you, Adrian, from EI7HT.
Yeah, EI7HT from EI2 SDR. Yeah, true enough, Tom, but as we know, this is 40 meters has just been not playing ball lately. maybe if we moved up to 20 meters, although we wouldn't hear each other locally probably. It's just the way it is. But I mean, as a demonstration, I suppose it's going okay. So I'll see if I don't know who. I think Tony's there, Niall is there, yourself is there. I'm just wondering if there's anyone in another location that maybe could call out give a CQ, see if we can get any different results. I wonder if Sean is still by. Echo India 8 Hotel Charlie Bravo from EI2 SDR. You by, Sean? Yeah, EI8 HCB from EI2 SDR. Sean, I was just wondering, could you give a CQ out on your side? Because I know you can get out a little bit better to some places. Over. Sounds like he's got somebody, but I can't hear him. So this is the thing. Sean is out on the north side of Dublin, which is kind of flatland territory, I think, and he sometimes hears stations on 40.
I'll jump in there. Very good morning, Tony. Echo India 7, Julius November, Echo India 7, Golf Uniform Bravo with the South of Riders. Hope you're well, Tony.
You might try and catch the call, Sean.
Yeah, okay, Tony, he's actually doing a live YouTube at the moment, and he does little bits and pieces on us, and he just could be doing that now at the moment. So we just have to wait till he calls back in. But there you go, Tony, hope you're well. By frequency you have Tom, 7HT, myself, you have Niall, 6HT.
I will call back in, but I don't know who. I can't hear them at all now.
Kilo Bravo. You have
so with local stations, like in cities and things like that, or with mountains in the way, your relative position to each other can make a huge difference. And every antenna, well, a dipole anyway, they all have like a null point, so you might be just deaf at a certain bearing. So that's Tony 7JN. Yeah, so I'm always quite poor with Tony. It's just the way my antenna points. I'm not broadside to him at all, so it's difficult to hear him. And it's the same issue with Sean. They're just on that particular bearing of my antenna, that where it receives poorly. But the guys can hear him pretty alright. So Tony can be quite strong with me. He's Echo India 7 Juliet November. He's a good, what we call DX chaser. He's always chasing distant stations and that kind of stuff. We'll listen in anyway.
Run there from say just after 9 o'clock. There it was great for nearly an hour. Just magic. Yeah, UK stations livened up our day. So it did. But at least if the frequencies are quiet, the only problem there is the white noise. So if the white noise keeps down, it'll be grand. So I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're not working too hard there, Tony. And I'd say you're probably getting more busier of late. And Jim HAR is also on the side there, Tony. there, just to let you know there, because we've only 9 minutes left there before the IRTS news bulletin. Back to you, Tony, from EI7HC.
Yeah, fine, Tony, EI7HC, EI7JM. Great. Okay. EI8JR, EI7 Julie November, the group. Any contact?
EI7JN from EI8JR. Good morning to you, Tony. Sounding as good as ever. 20 over 9, and all good. I hope you're getting on well with that 7300, over.
I haven't used it. I used it at the start there, Jim, and I have left it, and I'm using the old, the 74 on top of it there. And I left that underneath. I used it once or twice, and I have to go back to use it again. But it's just sitting there again here on the bench, but so look, here's where it is there. I just like this, the 7400, because it's just that when I got used to it, and it's a good receive and everything on it, so I like it. Anyway, I won't delay, you know, this is coming up, and good morning to all the rest of the
So Tony's coming up there a little bit for me, so
yeah,
I will be able to get a contact with him.
stream, I'm looking at it on my phone as well. Back to you, Jim, EI8JR from EI7 Julie November and the group.
EI7JN from EI8JR and the South Dublin Radio Net. All copy, Tony. Yep, it's a great little radio. Lots of features on it. Takes a bit of getting used to, but I can appreciate getting back to the old reliable 7400, and also a great radio. Without further ado, I will hand it back to Tony there, I beg your pardon. Tom, and let us take him up in there. I know it's close to news. So we'll talk to you later, Tony. EI7JN from EI8JR and over to EI7HT.
Okay, Jim, thanks for that there. Right, okay, I'll give a general call there, and then I might give it back to Tony. There, if he's free, he's in front of his radio equipment there today. It's all full of Father's Day presents. He's going to have to move them tonight. They're in the way. So anyway, QRZ, this is Echo India 7 Hotel Tango on the STR radio. Echo India 7 Hotel Tango with company calling QRZ. Okay, Tony, I'll put it back to you there.
So sometimes on the Sunday morning we get a bit of a rush of stations. We haven't this morning in the 10 minutes before 11, because the Irish Radio Transmitter Society has a news bulletin at 11, so a lot of amateurs begin to tune in at that time, and they come in on the tail end of our radio net. But that doesn't appear to be the case this morning.
But I'll just give a general call out and see if anybody else is out. QRZ 40 metres, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, the South Dublin Radio Club Net. CQ 40 metres, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, any stations why?
Echo India 6 Foxtrot Zulu, Tony.
Very good morning to you there. It's Echo India 6 Fox Zulu, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo with the South Dublin Radio Club Net. I hope you're well this morning. I'll just say hello to you quickly, and then I'll pass it over there. Pass it over to Adrian. He's running the live YouTube for the Dublin Makers, and he's using the club call sign. So I hope you're well, Dermot. Echo India 6 Fox Zulu, Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo, the South Dublin Radio Club Net. Roger.
Yeah, fine, Tony. I 6FZ. Yeah, I was just wondering about the connection to the YouTube. Is it on? Did you put it up on the WhatsApp, Tony?
Yeah, I think it's up on the WhatsApp. If you just go to YouTube, go to the club channel and go into that, you'll find the live feed there, Roger.
Fine, that's fine, Tony. I tried it yesterday with no luck. Anyway, it's good to talk to you. I'm not sure that I'll be able to hear Adrian, because you're the only one I can hear properly. So 73, and thanks very much for that, Tony. Yeah, 7GUB, 6FZ.
Yeah, okay, just stand by and we'll just see if Adrian has a copy on you. Echo India 2, Sierra Delta Radio. Do you have a copy there on Dermot's 6 Fox Zulu, Roger?
EI7GUB from EI2SDR. Yeah, yes, Tony. I can copy Dermot 5 and 5, 5 and 6. EI6FZ from EI2SDR. Do you copy Dermot? Over.
EI2SDR, EI6FZ. Fine, Adrian. Yeah, you're about a 5 and 2, 5 and 3 with me. The noise is managing to beat everybody. But good to chat to you, and well done. So I'll tune in now in a couple of minutes and see what's going on. So fair play for the effort. I saw Kevin's video okay yesterday, but that's all I saw. So Adrian, thank you very much, and I'll give it back to you. EI2SDR in the group, EI6FZ.
EI6FZ from EI2SDR. Thanks very much, Dermot. I might actually try and go to Tony 7JN because I didn't get the QSO with him. Echo India 7 Juliet November from Echo India 2 SDR. Do you copy, Tony? Over.
Good morning, Adrian. Good morning. 57 into me at the top. Nice to work you this morning, and congratulations for putting on the show there. So EI2 SDR to take it for the final to wrap it up on Echo India 7 Juliet November. Thanks, Adrian.
EI7JN from EI2SDR. Yeah, Tony, you were quite low when you came on initially, but you came up there. You're about 523 at the moment, so all copied, and thanks very much. So I might go for a quick hand around, as I explained to people here watching the live stream that the news starts at 11, so we generally dovetail into that. So I'll go to Niall, EI6HIB from EI2SDR.
Can I jump in there, Adrian?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, just to remind Dermot there, 6FZ, about the International Space Station transmitting slow scan starting from Monday to next Saturday. There's no need for him to come back as long as he gets the message there, it's fine. Back to you, Adrian, from EI7HT.
EI7HT from EI2SDR. Yeah, worthwhile information, Tom. Thanks for that. EI6HIB.
Okay, yeah, just for the benefit of anyone on the net or on the live stream, after Tony called in there, we had 2 Tonys, 2 Toms and 2 Niles on the net. So if don't worry if you're confused, I'm as equally confused. I'll give a quick call and see if anyone else wants to join us before we wrap up. CQNet from Echo India 6 Hotel India Bravo and Company, standing by for any calls. Okay, that's all quiet here. I'll pass it to Tony. I'll give Tony a signal report. EI7JN, you're 5 and 9, and I probably won't have time to go to Dermot, but Dermot is about a 5 and 6 if he can hear this. Over to you, Tony. Anyway, EI7JN from EI6HIB.
Yeah, good morning to EI6HIB from Echo India 7 Juliet November to 5-9 also, and the sound is quite nice and strong coming in, so you must have improved your antenna system. Anyway, without further ado, we've got to tie up the ribbon from the chat because it's coming at the 11 o'clock. EI6 Hotel India Bravo, Echo India 7 Juliet November. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've exactly about 60 seconds. So I'll pass it to the other Tony, and then maybe you can move it on to Adrian or whatever. Over to you, Tony, EI7GUB from EI6HIB.
Yeah, okay. No problems at all. You're getting confused with all the names, all right. But thanks for everybody there. Just one quick call out there. Is there a station there called? Okay, I thought I heard somebody else calling there just before I took the microphone up. Okay, thanks indeed, everybody there for joining in this morning and on the live feed. So we'll give it to Adrian there to tie us up. Echo India 2 SDR from Echo India 7 Golf Uniform Bravo.
EI7GUB from EI2SDR. I'll wrap up quickly. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming on. Even with the short skip, we got a good few stations in, and I hope those watching found it valuable. And we'll do it again. I think it looks like it's worthwhile to explain how stations work live. So this is EI2SDR, South Dublin Radio Clubnet, signing off ahead of the IRTS news. 7-3, everybody.
The frequency is in use for the IRTS news broadcast. Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo.
Okay, so that's it. The IRTS news comes on at 11.
IRTS Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo. Yeah, good morning, actually, Owen. Nice to hear you on. Wasn't too sure who was reading the news, but it looks like you're all clear to go there, Adrian. So hopefully I'll be able to get you after the news broadcast. EI0 IRTS Golf 4 Radio Kilo Bravo, clear.
So clearly Niall can hear the news station there, and we can't, but that's the way it goes. Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream. Thanks very much for joining us, and look, if there's club members or anyone else interested in amateur radio and you'd like to do us for us to do this again, you know, just message us on Twitter or on Facebook. Or leave a comment in the YouTube section on this video or any of the videos. It doesn't really matter. We'll get to it at some stage. But I think it looks like it's worthwhile as regards a demonstration and explaining things. I mean, I'm not the most technically competent amateur radio operator. There's far more knowledgeable people out there. But I've no problem going over the basics in some way, shape or form and answering your questions. So, okay, from me, Adrian, and from everyone at South Dublin Radio Club, and thanks again to Dublin Maker. You know, it's great to promote these STEM hobbies and show people the fun you can have with technology. 73, as we say in amateur radio. That's best regards. Bye.